Hello everyone, Desert Gardener here, and it's July in the desert, so I thought I'd do a pepper update. So it's been about 110 degrees here every afternoon for about the last 10 days. And peppers don't do very well in that kind of heat. Anytime it gets over 90 degrees, they'll start to slow their growth and slow their production. So I thought I'd talk about what I do. So first thing I do, and if you've been subscribed to this channel for any period of time, you know that I put all my peppers in containers, all my containers on tables, and all my tables on wheels. So when it starts getting this kind of hot, I just simply push them into the shade. Now, if you're unable to do that, moving them someplace if they're in a container, or if you can't move them, using a sunshade will be very helpful. They just can't stand that kind of heat all day long. The next thing I do is I adjust my watering. I've now added a second watering later in the day. I still do my normal morning watering, but later in the day I'll go out and do a second watering. And during this second watering, I don't just water the container, I get the entire plant wet. This really helps cools it off, and but I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're probably thinking of that old myth where you shouldn't get your plant wet during the heat of the sun. Because the little water droplets will create a magnifying effect and burn the leaves. This is absolutely untrue. This was disproven many years ago, but unfortunately some of these myths just keep going on the internet. I talked about it once before, so I'll just do it really briefly here. This myth started in places where it was very humid, so the water droplets on the leaves would take much longer to evaporate. So the bacteria and stuff that was in the water would come to life and make a little brown or rust-colored spot right where that water droplet was. And gardeners of the time thought, oh, it was the sun doing this. But it's absolutely not. The same thing happened when it was in the shade. It was fungus and humidity that was causing this problem. So it's not a problem to the plant, and if you live in the desert like I do, it's going to evaporate so quickly, it's not going to be a problem at all. So watering from above and getting the plant wet isn't going to hurt anything. In fact, it's going to help a bunch because it's going to keep the plant cool when it's really hot, and it's going to wash off the leaves. This can be helpful also because removing dust and dirt from the leaves will help the plant do photosynthesis. So I definitely recommend watering from above in the desert. So the next thing is, I thought I would talk about Peppergate. Now you might be wondering why I'm talking about peppers, and I've got this plant next to me that clearly is not a pepper. Well, a couple of years ago, you may recall that there were a bunch of seed companies, big name companies, that were selling pepper seeds, but when people planted them and they grew, they were a completely different type of pepper. And this bothered a lot of people. There were also some tomatoes that went this way. I felt I was kind of immune to it because I didn't buy from any of the big companies. I was buying from small companies on eBay and private sellers and things like that. But I guess I'm not immune because I bought some Ahi Dulce pepper seeds online a couple years ago. I planted them this year and I got an eggplant. And I was surprised how similar the seeds look. I wouldn't have expected them to look so similar, but they were. It's got these fuzzy leaves, big purple flowers, and this round eggplant fruit here. So it happens, but I still recommend eBay as a great place to buy seeds, especially when you're buying them in small quantities, because you can usually just get one or two seed packets, and the cost is very low, whereas if you order from one of the big companies, you have to order a bunch to make the shipping worthwhile. But whatever works for you. Fortunately, I think things are settled down and mostly back to normal. But I figured as long as we were talking about seeds, I wanted to talk about a couple of other seed things. And the first one is something I hear a lot of people ask about, and that is, can you save seeds from peppers that you buy in the store? Well, of course you can, but they'll probably be less viable. Peppers that you buy in the store are picked way before they're ripe, so the seeds aren't really fully grown, so they're going to be less likely to germinate. Now, if you buy pepper seeds that are red, yellow, or orange and have ripened to their final color, you're going to have a much better chance. But if you buy pepper in the store that's green, it's very unlikely that you're going to get anything. Not impossible. So go ahead and give it a go if you like. It doesn't hurt to plant a few and see what happens. But you're better off getting ones that are at their fully ripe color. And as long as we're talking about getting seeds, I really think I should revisit storing seeds, because every time I purchase some seeds online, they come in one of these little Ziploc bags. And this is a terrible way to store seeds. You really need to put them in a paper container. Paper will absorb any extra moisture, and because they're opaque, it keeps light from getting to the seed. This is much better for the longevity of the seed. Once you fill this up, just take this and put it in your refrigerator, and they will last a long time. Now, not the freezer, but the refrigerator. Now, I love these little bags. I got these from Temu. They're pretty cheap. They're less than 5 cents each. And they even started selling larger ones that are about the same size as a consumer seed packet. So I'll put a link to that down below in case you'd like to pick some of these up. Well, I think that's about it. So if you got anything out of this video, all I ask is that you hit the like button. And if you want to see more, you'll have to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.